Hi, I'm Vidushi and you are watching Daily News Simplified, an answer to what, why, and how of newspaper analysis from the UPSC perspective. So, today we have taken up important articles from the Hindu, the Indian Express, and Business Line. So, today we have four means related topic and three prelims related topic. So, first for the means is from the Business Line. At WTO meet, India could face pressure. Now, there is 13th ministerial conference which is going to happen in last week of February, and there's an article which highlights the issues India are going to face with respect to negotiations. Now you know that WTO is linked with food security, so it is important from GS paper 3 perspective, and it is an example of multilateral organization, which is another important theme from GS paper 2 perspective. So that's why we have taken this article. Second is the women of ASHA, overworked, underpaid, and on the edge of breakdown. Why we have taken? Because there's an article which highlights the issue faced by ASHA workers. Now you all know that ASHA is one of the vulnerable section under GS paper 2 under social justice. So that's why we have taken it. Then another discussion is on, should India have regional benches of the Supreme Court? Because there is an article which is based on debate about the establishment of regional benches of Supreme Court. Now you know that judiciary is important from polity and governance perspective under GS paper 2. So that's why we have taken it. Then next discussion is on, in a tough world, the beacon of UK India strategic ties. Now there is an article which highlights the importance of India and UK maritime ties. And question is why we have taken, because you know that facets of bilateral relationship is important from the GS2 perspective. So this is about the mains topic. Now let's come to the prelims related topic. First is with respect to Vostro account. There is a news that Russia utilized its funds from Vostro account. And you know that UPSC has been asking questions based on economic terms. Second is Kiro Hydel project. Recently, CBI conducted various raids and those places linked with Kiro Hydel project. That's why we have taken question on this. Plus, UPSC has been asking question based on reservoirs and dams. Then next, last question is based on real interest rate, because there's an article in which Monetary Policy Committee it warned the government about the consequences of real interest rate. And you know that liquidity related term is important from pre perspective. So that is about pre related topics. So now let's start our discussion. Sorry, just wait for 1 second. Ha. So first discussion is based on this two news articles. One is on page number 6 in Business Line and one is on page number 7. So what is the context? Context is that challenges that India is going to face in 13th ministerial conference, which is going to held in the last week of February, that is from February 26 to 29. Now to understand major key takeaways from this article, first you need to understand two specific terms or two major issues. First is with respect to issues of public holding, stock holding, and agricultural subsidies. Now, you all know that WTO's Agreement on Agriculture, that is AOA, according to it, subsidies to farm producers should not exceed 10% of the total value of the product. So, according to this subsidy should not exceed 10% of the total value of the product. For example, there is farmer X and this farmer is producing rice. So that total value of rice is suppose 5 lakh. Okay. Now 10% of this 5 lakh is how much? In this scene, it is 50,000. So government can give subsidy up to 50,000 rupees only, according to WTO Agreement on Agriculture norm. So any kind of financial support, subsidies, or any kind of direct payment should not exceed this limit as per the norm set by WTO under Agreement on Agriculture. Now, the next question is that how to set this norm or how to set this rate. This rate is based on international benchmark. Okay. Now, real issue lies here because this international benchmark is based on 1986 to 1988 prices as a base. Okay. Which does not account for inflation, obviously. Then it is undervalued because it does not account for inflation. Let's understand this with the help of example. Suppose there is farmer. Suppose there is a wheat bag. We take example of 1986. Okay. That time this bag price is 100 rupees per bag. Okay. So how much should be the subsidy provided to this farmer as per this norm? It should be 10%, that is 10 rupees. Now fast forward to present time. Current value of this wheat bag is 500 rupees because of inflation. Now how much government can support? Now government can give only 10 rupees, which is based on 1986 base price as per this Agreement on Agriculture norm. Now also government need to give 10% of 100 rupees value to this farmer. But actually how much it should get? 10% of 500 is 50 rupees. Yes. So we need to give 50 rupees. But what we are paying? 10 rupees. Because it is based on the base value that is 1986. Okay. Which does not account for inflation. So if government is giving more than that, then it is termed that we are providing high subsidies or overestimated subsidies. There's the issue. And for countries like India to run government projects like National Food Security Act, where it is aimed to provide subsidized food grains to 2/3 of the population, approximately. For that, you need to procure food grains at MSP. And for that, you need to give subsidies to the farmer. And definitely, you will breach this limit, that is 10% subsidy limit as set by WTO AO agreement. And that is why countries like USA, they are against India. They don't want India to breach this limit. Okay. Now, another issue is with respect to issue of public stock holding. See, according to WTO norm, no commercial export should be done from public stock holding. Now, this public stock is governed and held by the government. Okay. So, no one should promote commercial export of food grains. Now, the problem lies that WTO members cannot export food grains even for non-commercial humanitarian purposes. Why? Because they termed grains under this public stock holding as subsidized grains. So according to WTO, if you are exporting subsidized grains, then somewhere you are distorting trade market. So that's another issue, that is with respect to public stock holding. One, agricultural subsidies, 10% breach limit. Second, you cannot export food grains even for non-commercial humanitarian purposes. Okay. Now, let's come back to the topic. In such pressure, India has able to manage some positive, or you can say some relaxation. Let me write here. Sorry. Yes. We are facing some technical glitch here. Wait for a second. Technical glitch is here. ये बार नहीं आ रहा यहाँ पे. Mouse. Discard. Okay. Keep. Okay. So India has able to manage some relaxation. You all know about Bali conference, year 2013. Here India secured peace clause. And according to this clause, India can reach this limit, that is 10% of the value or limit on subsidies. And no country can go or file a case against India under WTO dispute resolution mechanism. Okay. In 2014, India further forced developed countries to clarify that this peace clause will continue indefinitely till we found a permanent solution. So still that is going on, and we can continue with this peace clause. Okay. Now, as per the author, developed countries like USA or other countries who are having interest in agricultural export, they don't want to make any progress with respect to this. So they will try to do same in upcoming ministerial conference. But for India, it is very important to find a permanent solution to run its initiatives like National Food Security Act. So for that, India need to push little hard. Okay. Now, same issue goes with fishery subsidies as well. Because in current setup, it is favoring countries like who have historically exploited marine fisheries, and they have well developed shipping fleet. And it is somewhere barring countries like developing countries like India to develop its own fishing fleet. Second issue is, so just now we have discussed issues of public stock holdings and agricultural subsidies. In this, we have also discussed about fishery subsidies. Now, the second issue is with respect to investment facilitation for development. In this agreement on investment facilitation for development is a well decided agreement by WTO to favor or to make more investor friendly environment by simplifying investment procedures, to make it more transparent, to make it more predictable for FDI. And this is basically for developing and least developed countries. So it sounds like it is going in a positive connotation, but it is not so. Because somewhere it will be a binding on parties to go for investment facilitation for development. And that is why countries like India and South Africa, they are opposing it. And why they are opposing it? Because according to them, finance is out of, or investment is out of WTO's purview. And for them, better medium is bilateral negotiation. Okay. So what should be the way out, or what is the way out as per the author, is that India need to push little hard for current issues like issue of public stock holding, agricultural subsidies. Further, India need to create a broad-based coalition group of like-minded countries. Plus, India need to take leverage of political ties with UAE. Why? Because in upcoming session, member of UAE only will chair the conference. Okay. So these are the three takeaways or three way out from this article. And now let's go to the another discussion. So our next discussion is based on this news article which appeared on science page in the Hindu newspaper. Context is that this article is about this article sheds light on plight of ASHA workers who hampers their personal prospects as well as public health system. Now, let's see basic characteristics of ASHA workers. See, in India, we have three cadres of community health workers. The first is ANM, that is auxiliary nurse midwives. Second category is AWW, that is Anganwadi worker. Third category is ASHA, that is accredited social health activist. So this article is basically about this category. So let's see characteristics one by one. They are the latest addition under National Rural Health Mission. Training duration is 3 to 4 weeks. Solely they work at grassroots level, that is at village level. Key responsibilities and roles. Key functioning under India Integrated Child Development Services, that is ICDS. Main functionary at Anganwadi centers, serving as preschools for young children. Then providing nutritional supplementation for children below 6 years of age, adolescent girls, lactating women under Poshan Abhiyan, and promoting healthy behavior awareness activities for safe sanitation, safe water sanitation and immunization. Then what about the cadre strength? It is nearly 10 lakh. And remuneration is based on performance-based incentive. And this is one of the major drawback. We'll discuss this thing in further discussion. So now you know that they are the key figures within Indian health system. Why? Because they bridge the gap between health system and community. How? Because they play vital roles by providing awareness, by ensuring implementation of government schemes at the grassroots level, by ensuring implementation of important projects set by the government like Poshan Abhiyan, then access to health services. That's why they are so important. despite having such a significant, they are facing certain challenges. Let's see those challenges one by one. So according to expert, or according to this article, there is economic, there is physical, and there is psychological violence embedded in their role. First, let's see economic. The economic plight is marked by undervalue labor system because their compensation model is based on performance based system. Just now we have seen it is based on performance, which is highly insufficient and inconsistent, and typically they are getting 6,000 to 11,000 remuneration. Okay, so this financial instability not only highlights or not only reflects the lack of recognition of their hard work, but it also put them a place, or you can say economic vulnerable position, which makes it very difficult for them to sustain themselves as well as their families. Okay, so this is about economic instability. Why? Because it is based on performance based system. They're not getting permanent salary. It is based on their performance, which is inconsistent. Second is physical violence. See, it stems from a word that is triple burden. They are expected to fulfill responsibilities at their home, within communities, public health care centers, and because of this relentless overload of work, they are facing issues like sleep deprivation, exhaustion, which further affects their physical health. Like they are getting problems with respect to anemia, malnutrition, non-communicable diseases. Further, environmental factors like heat stress. This job doesn't qualify for occupational hazard. Okay, why? Because they are marked as volunteer and not as a worker, which somewhere devoids them from basic rights of dignified life. Okay, so they are recognized as volunteer and not as worker. So it basically devoids them from basic rights of dignified life. Now, third is psychological violence. See, now you know strains coming from economic, like undervalue payment system, then refusal of public health system to recognize them as worker, rather labeling them as volunteer. Somewhere it affects their professional identity. Or you can say it not only affects their professional identity, but it also affects their self-esteem and their mental health. And that is why third is psychological violence. Now, these are the major challenges. Further, these challenges compounded by uh, other challenges like gender and caste hierarchies. So further compounded by other prevailing challenges like caste and gender hierarchies. Why? Because most of the Anganwadi workers, they are coming from marginalized sections. Yes. And these sections itself, they are facing disadvantage due to societal prejudices. Okay. And these prejudices somewhere they manifest as in the form of violence, in the form of exploitation, in the form of assault. And because of that, they are put at the lowest rung in the public health system hierarchies. And that is why they are least powerful. Okay. So these are the challenges faced by ASHA workers with respect to public health system. Now, in this article, author provided initiatives taken by government to support ASHA workers. Like during interim budget, central government announced free health insurance covers for all ASHAs and Anganwadi workers and helpers under Ayushman Bharat scheme. Then in 2018, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare approved an ASHA benefit package providing coverage for accidents, deaths and disability. Now, what should be the way out? Way out is that we need to have a multifaceted approach in the form of policy reforms, enhanced compensation, recognition them as a worker, a formal recognition, and safeguarding their public and safeguarding their health and dignity. We need to embrace measures which can safeguard their health and dignity. So these can be the way out. So this is all about from this article. Now let's move to the another one. So our third discussion is based on this article, which appeared on page number 11 in the Hindu newspaper. So, should India have regional benches of the Supreme Court? This is the title of the article. Context is that topic of setting of regional benches of High Court is again in news because Parliamentary Committee has said that Ministry of Law has accepted its recommendation to set regional benches of Supreme Court. Okay, and twist is that Supreme Court is against this idea, citing legal complexities. Supreme Court is not supporting this idea, setting regional benches of Supreme Court. So now this article revolves around arguments in favor or in against setting of regional benches of Supreme Court. So first, let's see arguments in favor. First argument is that majority of the cases before Supreme Court are from high courts close to Delhi. The majority of the cases coming to Supreme Court, they are coming from High Court, which are geographically closer to Delhi. Okay. So anyone who is not staying closer to Delhi or who is not staying nearby, it is very difficult for them to come to Supreme Court for adjudication purposes because they will be facing issues with respect to time, with respect to cost, with respect to logistics. So by setting regional benches, we can solve this issue. Like anyone who is coming from southern states like Tamil Nadu, they can go to regional bench rather than coming to Delhi. Anyone who is coming, any petitioner who is coming from northeast, like from Assam, they can go to their regional bench rather than coming to Delhi. So first is majority of the cases coming close to Delhi, so we need to diversify it. Second is we can use technology to take up remote hearing. So this will solve the issue. See, technology is good for judicial administration, for courtroom management, for managing cases, a flow of cases, but it is not a viable solution for judicial adjudication. Okay, why? Because physical hearing of cases helps to have objectivity with regard to propositions advocated in front of the court. Okay, so it will be more objective if you present court case in a courtroom. So petitioner and litigants presence of them in a courtroom, it's good for a judge because he can work without having any fear of without having any fear or favor. So virtual system, we can keep virtual system, but for selected cases, or you can say in extraordinary circumstances. So yes, technology is good only for selected cases. Rest, we need to go for physical hearing because it is based on objectivity. Then third is Supreme Court disposal rate has increased in the past 2 years And we can go this way. See, moreover, despite an increase in Supreme Court's disposal rate over the past 2 years, the backlog of cases is quite significant. Okay, or for that, casual approach will not work. For that, extra effort need to be taken by CJI. So if we have more regional benches, then definitely we have more lawyers, definitely we have more judges. So somewhere it will increase the efficiency of judicial administration. Okay. So these are the three arguments in favor of setting regional benches of Supreme Court. First, it should be like justice should be close to people who are not staying near to Delhi. Second, importance of physical room, physical court hearing to maintain objectivity, so that judge can work without any fear and favor. Third, backlog of cases. We need to increase manpower. Okay. So having seen the arguments in favor, let's see arguments against. Okay. The first argument is that it could lead to more divergent, or you can say it could lead to more fragmented and divergent judicial system. Okay. Why it is so? See, if suppose we are setting regional benches and they are giving verdict on same issue, but all those verdicts are contradictory in nature. Okay, then what will happen? It will lead to legal inconsistencies. Okay, and you know Supreme Court is famous for what? For uniform legal interpretation. Okay, so this is a major challenge. Second is there is possibility that if you make if you make it easy for anyone to access Supreme Court, then definitely it will give rise to frivolous petitions, which is another major issue. Okay, so these are the arguments against or setting regional benches of Supreme Court. So according to author, two way outs are there. First, you need to put a mechanism that can scrutinize the types of petitions that are permitted to be admitted in top court. Second, you need to clean certain jurisdiction or certain powers or exclusive to Supreme Court, like original jurisdiction under Article 131, advisory jurisdiction under Article 143, and writ jurisdiction under Article 32 of the Constitution. So in crux, we can say that yes, setting regional benches of Supreme Court will bring justice closer to people who are not staying near Delhi, who are staying far from Delhi. But there is need to maintain a right balance. There is need to maintain a high uniformity, because Supreme Court of India is well known for it. Okay. So this is all about this article. Now come to our last means discussion, which is based on this article, which appeared on page number 10 in the Hindu newspaper. Context is that this article is written by Admiral Sir Ben K. He is the Chief of Naval Staff of Royal Navy of UK, and he highlights the significance of India-UK ties, particularly in field of maritime strategy. So the first question is, why maritime strategy hold this much significance, or why it's so important? So according to author, or according to Chief of Naval, global trade is predominantly based on maritime activity, and both the countries, they need to work or they need to secure channels, sea communication channels, and they need to make it free from exploitation or any form of aggression. Okay, why? Because both the countries heavily dependent, or both the countries' economic activity heavily dependent on maritime activity, or you can say maritime trade. He further say that rules-based international order this is under threat from Black Sea to Gulf of Aden to South China Sea. Rules-based international order is under threat. So he highlights initiatives taken by UK or other government in the securing sea lanes of communication. So recently, UK, US, and other nations they joined operation known as Operation Prosperity Guardian. It basically to defend and protect commercial shipping from Houthis attack. Okay, and in this article, it also praised Indian Navy in same context that Indian Navy is performing the same role in Arabian Sea. Okay, further he quotes. Sorry. Again, we are facing. Again, same glitch. Sorry for the delay. Further, author quotes about Ukraine crisis. The problem is further concerns related to the continuance of such issues. Then, in such a scenario of global instability, author highlights the cooperation between India and UK. And he says that future center of economic global activity would shift from Indo shift to Indo-Asia Pacific. So, according to author, Indo-Asia Pacific will become a permanent policy part of UK. And in such a scenario, he praises and welcomes different fields of cooperation between India and UK. So the first is UK India Defence Partnership through various joint exercises, visiting of carrier strike groups of UK. Second, Defence Industrial Partnership from electric warship propulsion to complex weaponry to jet engines. Then military education. Officers from all three services of Indian Armed Force, they joined British service academics as instructors, sharing their experiences with future military leaders and gaining back experiences as well. So these are the three areas of cooperation. And author concludes that rule-based international order has kept the peace for a very long period of time. And now countries like-minded countries who are supporting peace and prosperity, they need to advocate it for its continuance. And in such an unstable world, UK is fortunate to have India as a good friend. Okay, so this is the conclusion provided by Naval Chief. Okay, so this is from the main session. Now let's come to the pre one. So first article is appeared on page number 1 in the business line. Context is that Russia has managed to use most of its rupee balance that had piled up in special Vostro account of Indian bank. Okay. So now let's see what do you mean by Vostro accounts or Nostro account. So Vostro. Vostro means yours. Yours account, your account in our book. And Nostro means ours, our account in your book. Okay. Now let's understand this with the help of example. See here, ICICI Bank from India, then Bank of America from USA. So if ICICI Bank opened dollar dominated account with Bank of America, then it is Nostro for ICICI Bank. Okay. So it is Nostro account for, if you see from the ICICI perspective. But if you see from the perspective of Bank of America, it is Vostro account. Yours in our book, and Nostro means ours in your book. It is ICI account in Bank of America. Yes. So it's Nostro for ICICI Bank. Same if it goes with rupee dominated account. If Bank of America opened any account with ICI Bank for rupee dominated exchange, then it is Nostro for Bank of America and it is Vostro for ICI Bank. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of having Vostro and Nostro account? Because it facilitates the payments with respect to exports and imports in domestic currencies to facilitate trade in that. Okay. Now, if two countries are having very good trade relation, both are exporting and importing, then it is quite useful. What if only one country is exporting or only one country is importing? Then amount in this Vostro account is piling up, sitting idle. To solve this issue, RBI came with a notification that now any country can use money in their Vostro account to invest in government securities. So it is now more lucrative. Okay. So now let's solve our question. Why we have taken? Because UPSC has been asking term-based question, economic term-based question, like there was question 2023. So now let's come to the practice MCQ. With reference to international financing trading account, you are provided with 3 statements and you need to identify the correct one. Vostro account is an account opened by a domestic bank in the foreign market. Second statement is Nostro account is an account opened by a foreign bank in domestic market. Now, both these statements are incorrect. The correct statement is Vostro account is an account opened by foreign bank in domestic market. For example, if a Bank of America opened any account in India in ICICI, that is Vostro account opened by a foreign bank in domestic market. Domestic market means India. Okay. Nostro account is an account opened by domestic bank in foreign market. Okay. If ICICI Bank opened any account in Bank of America, then it is account opened by domestic bank in foreign market. Okay. For trade facilitation. So both are interchanged. Both these statements are wrong. Third is Vostro accounts are used to make payments in domestic currency. Now third statement is true because purpose of this account is to facilitate payment for imports and exports in domestic currencies. So third statement is true. So answer is only one, that is option A. Now let's come to the next question. I hope it is clear. And if not, then please drop your doubts in our comment box. Our team will respond as soon as possible. Then next question is based on this article, which appeared on page number 15 in the Indian Express. Context is that CBI conducted raids at 30 locations, and 3 locations are linked to former Jammu Kashmir Governor Satyapal Malik, and cases related to mismanagement of Kiro Hydel project. And why we have taken it? Because UPSC has been asking question on reservoirs and dams. Like there was a question on reservoirs which came in year 2022. So now let's come to the practice question. Here you are provided with 2 statements with respect to Kiro hydroelectric projects, and you need to identify the incorrect one. Okay. So before answering this question, first let's see basics about Kiro hydroelectric project. It is a run-of-the-river scheme. It is developed over Chenab River in Kishtawar Tehsil of Doha district in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. Project sites lies approximately 1.5 kilometer downstream and 0.5 upstream at the convergence point of Chenab River with Singad and Bela streams. And this project is being developed by Chenab Valley Power Project, and it is a joint venture between National Hydroelectric Power Corporation, Jammu Kashmir State Power Development Corporation, and Power Trading Corporation. So key facts about this project. Now let's come to the question. First statement is it is a run-of-the-river type project. Now you know the statement is correct. Second is it is built across Chenab River in Himachal Pradesh. So half of the statement is correct. It is built across Chenab River, but in Jammu and Kashmir and not in Himachal Pradesh. So this makes our second statement incorrect. So our answer is option B. Now let's come to our last question, which is based on this news article which appeared on page number 17 in the Hindu newspaper. Context is that Monetary Policy Committee highlighted the high real interest rate may hamper economic growth of a country or economic growth in India. Okay. So first you need to know about what is real interest rate. Okay. Real interest rate is rate which is adjusted to remove the effects of inflation. Okay. Real interest rate is nominal interest rate minus rate of inflation. It is a interest rate that has been adjusted to remove the effects of inflation. Okay. So real interest rate is equal to nominal interest rate minus rate of inflation. And what is the use? See, lower real interest rate is growth supportive, or it will support India's economic growth. And that is why Monetary Policy Committee highlighted that by rising real interest rate, somewhere it will impact or hamper the economic growth of India. Okay. So here, question is, the term real interest rate is sometimes seen in news. Which of the following statements best describe this term? Now, the first is difference between lending and borrowing rate of interest by a commercial bank. Second, interest rate charged by World Bank on direct loans. Third, difference between nominal interest rate and inflation. And fourth, difference between interest rate and growth rate in an economy. So the answer is option C. That is difference between nominal rate and inflation. So that's all for today. Stay tuned for more such updates. And if you like our initiative, please do like our videos and subscribe our channel. And if you are facing any doubt, please let us know in our comment box. That's all. Thank you.